Good morning and welcome to the big story right here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. This is where we bring to you some of the stories, the big stories that are affecting our nation and our economy at large. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out.
This is still the big story right here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. This is where I bring to you some of the stories that are making the rounds around our continent and our nation at large. This is the BDTV Breakfast Show. This morning, we're turning the spotlight on something that has the power to shape Nigeria's future, but often gets pushed to the side. It's the census. Accurate data is the backbone of planning and development, and without it, how do you know how many schools to build, how many hospitals to provide, or even how to create jobs that match the size and skills of the workforce? Around the world, nations use census data as the foundation for everything from infrastructure to investment, from policy decisions to poverty reduction. Yet here in Nigeria, censuses have been rare, often delayed, and sometimes controversial. So the big question this morning is, without reliable numbers, are we planning in the dark? Well, joining me this morning is Mr. Ogie Eboigbe. He is the Vice President at INSDEC and is joining me on this conversation this morning. Well, let's dive straight into the conversation. A lot of people hear census and think it's just about counting heads, but it's so much more than that, like we know. So in your opinion, why is census data such a big deal for Nigeria?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Census should not really be a big deal. And I don't even think it's a big deal in Nigeria because the way our leaders take it does not look like they think it's any deal at all. Lots of countries use census to plan, to take care of the needs of their citizens, of their residents. Otherwise, without that, you can really not provide for your citizens. I just want to recall that earlier this year, when the chairman of the National Population Commission went to the National Assembly to defend the budget of the commission, the senators, I recall, made him to promise that this year is going to conduct a census. And at that time, I can't recall him saying it's not possible. And we were also, we had some hope in April when President Bola Tinubu inaugurated a committee on population census made up of top ministers and other government officials. So we are hopeful that this year there will be a census. But now we are in the 9th month of the year. We're in September.
There's a census.
Just less than 4 months to the end of the year. And we do not think, and I do not think that it will be possible to hold a census or conduct a census between now and the end of the year anymore. It's very sad. This is why we think that we are planless. We don't plan. Those who fail to plan, they are planning to fail. And that should not be the case. Our last census was in 2006. That's about 20 years ago. How have we been planning? It means we've been planning in the dark. There's no way a nation can succeed politically, economically, and socially to make provision for its citizens, housing, healthcare, other social provisions and all that without having a head count. You know, a credible, accurate head count. There's no way that can happen. And I think the country needs to really, think well about it. The leaders should think well about it and make a definite position clear on conducting the census for Nigeria.
Right, like you rightly said, the country does need to do something about it. And the last time we've had a census was in 2006. And even at that, we've struggled with getting it right in the past. In your opinion, really, why has conducting a credible census been such a challenge for us? Do you believe, or do you think there's any cause to think that Nigeria's inability to organize the census since 2006, do you think it's political?
Well, it's not just political. It's the way that we seem to take the census. Many of us, obviously, we think that census is to share revenue, to share allocation. So we tend to try to inflate figures for our different locations, whether it's our state or region or local government or community, as the case may be, so that big chunks of the national cake, so to speak, will come to our community, or the sharing of offices, political offices. The more we think we are, the more representative we will have, either at legislature or even in the executive. You know, in Nigeria, we basically use sometimes the national character to determine who gets what, not really minding whether the person is competent or not. So we have the wrong orientation as to what census is for. Census is much more than to share allocation, to share revenue to people. I think that is where we have got it wrong. And that's also why there's always been controversy in accepting previous census figures. There's always been controversy because people from this end would think that the other people have inflated their figures. They have counted some cows and goats and all that to make their figures higher so that they will get more gravy from the national purse. So that controversy has always been there. But we need to take a definite position. We need to have the strong will that this is what we want to do with the census, as other countries have done. Even though, smaller countries in Africa, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Lesotho, those people conduct census on a regular basis for planning. And I don't see why Nigeria cannot also do the same thing.
And so in that case, how then are we able to ensure that these processes are insulated from all these political manipulations in a way that the outcome actually truly reflects the reality that the government needs for effective planning?
First, there needs to be a political will. The leadership must, lead by example. The president must approve that we want the census at such and such a date. The last census was to have been in 2022. When the Population Commission people went to the then president, late Muhammadu Buhari, the report was that he said it's too close to the next general election the following year, 2023. So he doesn't think it will be possible. So that the one who takes over from him should be responsible for conducting the census. So 2022 was not a reality. And for this year too, the next year, we have election coming up in 2027. It's not taking place this year. When it gets to next year, who knows the excuse our people will still have to say, oh, next year is general election. Maybe we'll not have time or we'll not be able to make provision to have a census. But all that should not be the case. There should be a political will first and foremost, and we should just take the bull by the horn. We are going to have a census like other countries do. Nigeria is the 6th largest country by population in the world. 6th. The last figures we have, all the figures we've been having in these last few years have been projections by UNFPA, United Nations Population Fund, or other agencies like Statista and Worldometer. Foreign people are telling us what our population is or should be. That is wrong, and it is not good for us. We should be able to conduct our own election, and not just the way we've been conducting it before, all those manual head count. The era of manual head counts is gone. A lot of these young countries, smaller countries that are conducting elections are conducting census, are doing it using digital technology. Technology is the key now, and it can be done just with your mobile phones and satellite systems. Censuses are being conducted in Nordic countries, Norway, Denmark, Sweden. They took the lead then by ensuring that they used digital technology to do their census. And other countries, Germany, Netherlands, all follow them. So most of the countries in Europe, in North America, are using digital technology to do the census. We can't be depending on foreign agencies to tell us by projections what our population is. The last one is that we are 237 million people, 237 million. Whereas the last election that was conducted in that 2006, we were just 140 million people. But they are using their projections. I mean, some of those projections can be faulted, but there's nothing to beat a real head count, a real one that we can say would be okay for us to use to develop our various communities, plan for housing, plan for education, plan for healthcare, and all the social services that we need to, provide for. So it's not rocket science. It's just that political will that we need to, put in place.
That we know for sure is that in this country, elections seem to get all the spotlight, while the census is almost, treated like an afterthought. Do you think that that's a sign that we've got our priorities mixed up?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that we've got our priorities mixed up. Lots of us want to hold positions of leadership. All somehow people want to do is to get there. And they are egged on by their own, friends, family, townspeople, clanspeople, because those followers think that is my person. When it gets there, we will benefit. So is that selfishness that is, really putting us in this position that we are in? We need to think like, citizens, like people who care about their country and care about others, not just about your personal thing that, I want to benefit. Think about the whole country. That is how others think. So when you make policies, it's the policy that will influence the whole unit and make sure that everybody benefits, not just the few people or my people that will benefit. That's how the politicians take it when they put a lot of emphasis on elections. If the emphasis on elections is put on census, you'll be surprised how developed we will become. We need to develop, we need growth in our economy, in our political sphere, in social services. We need to do that. Many of us travel abroad and we see how citizens in those countries are taken care of, how they enjoy their facilities. And that you see the jackpot syndrome, everybody is moving over there. It's not as if jobs are on the floor, on the road to pick up, but at least the facilities are there. You have water, you have power, you have healthcare, provided. You pay for them. But it's when you have all this, you are developed and you are growing, that you can earn more to pay for your services. That is what I think the government should do. We should think about our people, not just about ourselves who are in those top positions. So we don't need to have any political influence in providing accurate figures or headcount for ourselves. Today, as of today, there is no word from the government that the census will be conducted this year. Even if there is word from them, it is not going to be possible to conduct election in 2 or 3 months. So we are looking at next year. Let it not be said that when we get to next year, it will not be that, the following year is general election. It's not going to be possible. I think we should think differently. Let's consider the whole country first before considering ourselves.
Right. And when you talk about the whole country, just like you've mentioned, what are some of the real risks for the economy and for ordinary Nigerians, really? And what actually happens when government keeps planning with these outdated figures like we've done in the past?
Well, the evidence is there right now that more people are suffering in Nigeria now than those who are enjoying. I don't even think we have up to 1% of Nigerians who are enjoying in Nigeria. But by enjoy, I mean who are very comfortable paying their bills, feeding themselves, transporting themselves, and having good health care. You know, I don't think we are up to 90%, about 90% of our people that are in, I think 90% of our people are in that, you know, poor condition. And you can go out there and see how the people feel. Wherever you go, everybody is talking about suffering. So who is enjoying? Then it means that we have got it wrong. If we do not know how to plan and then make provisions for what will make our people live better lives, then we've got it wrong. So let us go back to the basics. The policies we're going to put in place should be the policies that will encourage our people to live better lives. Show them what to do in the business world, even the basic employment world. Right there are no jobs out there right now. Lots, I mean, unemployment rate is very high. Inflation is over 30%. How can people survive? It is almost impossible to survive in Nigeria. And Nigerians are very tough people. They are. And our friends in other countries say it. Nigerians are tough people. And that is how we all behave now. We want to survive. Everybody wants to survive, but we should live above that poverty level. We should make provisions. Some of us who are a bit on in age, we know that in the 60s, things were much easier. School fees it was easy to pay your school fees if you are in the fee-paying area. Some areas, they didn't even pay school fees at all. You know, transportation, you move from place to place. Some of us bought brand new cars those days, go to the factory and pick up one. How many of us can go to the factory these days and pick up a brand new car? You know, you are going to have to work for several years. Is that possible? Well, you should know you are working in BusinessDay television. Can you go to a company like Volkswagen and go and pick up a brand new Passat car?
Certainly
They tell
not.
you have to pay 50 million.
Well, interesting, really. When you look at other countries, you mentioned our friends in other countries. Really, if we look at these countries, especially like countries like India and China, who rely heavily on their census for planning, what can Nigeria learn from these countries?
First, maybe one of the things that the government needs to learn, the leadership needs to learn is, you know, the human resources we have. You know, human resources are very key. Human beings are key to the survival of a nation. Without the people, there is no country. So make provision for these, your people that you are depending on. The Nigerians who are living in this country are going to other countries to develop those countries. We have Nigerians who are aerospace engineers, space engineers, doctors, engineers, everywhere, IT people in different parts of the world, and they are well valued, and they are providing value in those climates, those fairs. Those things could have been done here if we have provided for them here. But we have not been able to provide the facilities here. And those are the major human resources that are just going out there. If you live BD today and you go to India or China or UK, you'll be well valued. So why can't we provide for our people here so that we'll value them, value what they bring to the space, and how do you start with that? Let us first plan for them to make the country a better place. To start planning, you need to know how many people you have in your country, how many people you have in the state, in the local government, in the cities, before you can plan. Lagos, for instance, is a metro city. We say it's a mega city now. It's full of a lot of people. How many of those have houses to live in? There are lots of shanty towns all over the place now. By the beach, you have people who are living there. Under the bridge, they are living there because there have been no provision for housing. If there were provision for housing for them, for everybody, then we will not have such people suffering. And by that, encourage insecurity, crime and everything, because they are all, it's the survival of the fittest. That is not what should be. Let us know how many people are in this space and we can make provision for them. It will help the government in the long run, even to provide power for people in a particular area, providing health facilities, providing schools. It will help. You also provide for, the vulnerable people, the disabled people. How many are there? You don't know. That is not good enough. You can't provide for their, for the social welfare of these different groups of people if you do not know how many they are, what they do. Because census takes, cognizance of not just the counting of the people, where they are, what they do, their movements, everything about them. Census does a lot of that. And if we have a good census figure, the credible census figure, we'll be able to make more plans, plan well for a better country for Nigeria's people, Nigerian citizens.
Yeah, and as one thing that we need to also mention, you've talked about a better plan. One thing we need to mention is the fact that countries are using technology to actually improve their accuracy and credibility. The world has gone digital, so how can Nigeria tap into this digital nature that the world has now told?
Exactly what I said before. We cannot go back to the old system of doing our head count. That era is gone. So when the government says subsidy is gone, we can also say manual census is gone. So we'll say, if we are going to do the census now, when we are ready, and that better be soon, it has to be digital census. It's much easier. Technology makes things easier. It doesn't make things difficult. Things are easier with technology. Anybody, anywhere with a mobile phone can do anything these days. And there's the satellite system to provide us with whatever internet we need, whatever other services we need. So just using basic digital devices will help those people who ordinarily will be going from house to house, especially for places in Nigeria where movement is not really that guaranteed. You have riverine areas, you have places in swamps, we even have places in areas that are not so secure in the forests, but there are people living in those places. And it will be easy to use digital systems to count these people who are located there. And it's not rocket science, like I said. And Nigerians are very good in technology too. They can develop lots of apps, different apps that will help us to run a very good census. And it's good for the leaders to come out, encourage our people to say, please come, let us do this together. There are apps and all that there already. If you don't know want to develop new apps, but let your people be involved in it too, so that all of us can help put, things in place to do the head count. We have citizens all over Nigeria. Even, I don't see why they can't also make use of National Youth Service Corps to join them in, we have youth corps all over the place and help them to, go around the country, provide the figures that are needed, and then make it credible. At least technology will ensure that it's credible, is accepted, remove some of those controversies, because you can now back them up. Don't say beavers did not work here in election. This time, your mobile phone should work. Whatever device you put in place should work. So we should target the devices that will help us to have a good head count. Go to those countries that have done it. You don't even need to go to Europe. Burkina Faso, Ghana, Lesotho, Guinea, they've all done it. Kenya too, they've done it. South Africa. We can go to them and help. Let's see if we doubt. Because you'll be surprised, even some of the maybe technology they've used there were developed by Nigerians. Nigerians are everywhere making input into different parts of the world. So they can even help to do that. We have top Nigerians in top places in different countries and organizations in the world who are making contributions. So let us encourage ourselves, encourage our people, our young people especially, to ensure that when we are ready to do this concert, and it better be soon, then we can have the right technology that will help us to have a very, very credible and acceptable census figure at the end of the day.
Right. And moving beyond government policies, because we've talked about the government a lot, I'm curious really, how does reliable census data affect the private sector, from businesses to investors, even down to the people searching for jobs? How does reliable census affect these people?
Well, but the census is not just for government or public sector. It's for everybody. The country is made up of both public and private sectors. And then you have the non-governmental sectors. You know, census is for every one of them. Nobody can operate in isolation. Those people in the private sector, there's no doubt that we also need to encourage them, especially in the area of funding. If the commissions and the government need assistance, they should encourage, some of our private sector. I mean, some banks are making, one bank declared profit of 1.3 trillion naira for 1 year recently. So the banks are obviously making money. We have the telecoms companies that are making money. The other organizations, we shouldn't just be depending on the international organizations that usually help us to do some of these activities. In fact, from the US end, the president has cut a lot of that aid. And I'm sure that from Europe, it will be the same thing. Let us depend on ourselves. We can, call our private sector leaders, industry leaders, have them make contributions to this effort to ensure that we have a credible headcount. It's to their advantage. I mean, they are involved in recruiting people too, in the employment of Nigerians and others who reside here. And they will benefit from all this because all the information will be put at their disposal. So the private sector has a big role to play. I'm sure that a lot of the leaders of this sector, they know that they have a big role to play in ensuring a free, a credible, and accurate census. And it's good to encourage them. They are part of the citizenry, part of the people who are in Nigeria, and they should play a big role in ensuring that we have a census that is credible. Their own staff too will be counted. They will be counted too. And that should make them happy that they are being taken into consideration when plans are being made for economic development, for political development, for social development, education, healthcare, as I've said before, and other areas of the economy of the country. So everybody has a role to play. Private sector, public sector, non-governmental sector. Even you're talking about all those NGOs, who can help to, ensure that they encourage and mobilize people. The media too has a big role to play in this, to educate the people on what census can do to help them to benefit more from the country. So the media has a big role to play. Print, electronic, or social media, everybody has to be involved to ensure that there is a census that will take place. You have to, be actively involved in convincing those to take the decisions that they must play a big role. They should ensure that we have a census and that the census will benefit all of us living in Nigeria.
Finally, sir, if you were sitting in front of policymakers right now, what's that one piece of advice that you'd give to make sure that the next census is not just carried out, but actually carried out properly?
Technology. Make use of technology. At this point, you are saying the decision has been taken that a census is going to take place. So hand the census over to technology, to the digital natives to run, develop apps, develop other devices that will ensure that we have a credible census. So let us make use of technology as other countries have successfully done, so that the figure that will come out will not be disputed, it will not be controversial, and it will be the figure that will help us to make plans, to have national plans, regional plans, local government plans, and city plans, so that our country will be, will have figures that we'll be able to use to develop every aspect of our life, and all citizens will benefit from the outcome of the census.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show this morning on The Big Story to share your thoughts and insights on the census situation in Nigeria. Really glad to have you this morning.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Have a great day.
And you too. Well, I've just finished speaking with the Executive Vice President at INSDEC, Mr. Ogie Eboigbe. Up next is social listening. Do stay with us.